know, dark-skinned women. I don't really like dark-skinned women. Like, they look funny beside me.
So instead, he dates dark-skinned men.
Oh, so I'm just supposed to accept this?
You don't have a choice. You should have asked me before committing me.
I did ask.
No, you told me. You come here 2 hours late and I'm supposed to go with you? Oh, I don't think so.
Robin! Robin!
It's locked, Troy.
My love. He's a good man, Savannah. A good man.
Hey Rych Babes, welcome back to a Rich Girls Glow Up. Today is day 7. Today's topic is something that is very heavy, but it's so necessary to talk about. Dating a man who is secretly a colorist. Babes, let's just be real. Some men carry internalized issues that manifest as colorism. They'll tear down women who look like them while uplifting others. It's not just harmful, it's damaging, and sometimes it makes it hard to spot at first. So today we're going to break down how to spot a colorist man early on, the truth about why some men are colorists, especially towards their own kind, and most importantly, how to go when you are loved, appreciated, and valued. So let's get into it because we're not here to tolerate disrespect of any kind.
Colorism, the system. I think more people prefer lighter skinned women than darker skinned women. And I don't think that's a coincidence. Who you date says a lot about who you will advocate for, who you trust, who you believe deserves support, who you're willing to show up for.
This is why I said desirability politics, because it is political. Because of like who you deem as pretty, like goes into like these other characteristics. Who you deem as ugly goes into these other negative characteristics. So it's like, yes, like who you desire, like who do you want to like, who you're attracted to goes beyond just romantic, intimate, sexual relationships. It also very much so blends into your platonic relationships as well. Your relationships with your coworkers, all other elements of your life. Like, I think that's why, like, it's important to think about colorism as not just, like, straightly around dating or just around, like, preferences, but also just, like, how do you treat the dark-skinned people in your life? I think everybody should ask themselves that. How many dark-skinned people are in your life or in your friend group? Like, how do you treat darker-skinned people, individuals of all races? Like, when you meet them on a day-to-day, like, what do your interactions look like? What are your thoughts about them?
Black men are attracted to light-skinned black women with long hair. Do you believe that, Kathy Russell? You are co-author of The Color Complex. Do you believe that?
Overall, yes, I believe that.
And is it your view that this is because of a white world that respects lightness?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that the black man then internalizes this and sees lightness as better? Sexier?
Right.
Is it akin to a white man being attracted to a blue-eyed blonde woman? These are the women in the white world we think of as sexy and beautiful, etc.
Right, and the comparison in the black world to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman is the light-skinned African-American woman. So it's...
Is it true that in your own life you dated a man who wouldn't marry you because why?
Well, he said that I wasn't quite light enough to be his wife, but to bear his children. That was what he said. But I think it's not a personal vendetta of mine. I want to make that point up front. It's just something that I've seen throughout my life, and that's why.
Yes. Your book includes phrases like "high yella."
Yeah, those are terms that people use to describe others' color.
But high yella is that good, or is it offered in a sneering way?
No, I would say that's offered in a sneering way.
But this has divided black families, has it not?
Oh, definitely has.
And do we not have a lot of pain out there from men and women? I would think mostly women who took a lot. If you're light-skinned, there was a resentment.
Absolutely, and also, it's both.
Incidentally, what are you, just curiously, may I ask, on the scale?
See, and it's a strange thing. I have been everything from light to dark, and it really depends on who you're sitting next to. If I'm sitting next to this gentleman, I become lighter. If I'm sitting next to someone that's lighter than I become darker, and because I'm kind of in the middle. That's why it's all really crazy, because it just depends on how you see it.
But it's important enough for you to do a lot of work on this and to co-author the book.
Well, because I think it's caused people a lot of pain. And that, you know, that's why we wrote this book.
You also tell stories of black parents who are disapproving when their children or a young adult, a teenager, brings home a dark-skinned date.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not all black families. I mean, my mom isn't like that. It's just some that are like that.
First things first. How do you even recognize a man who's secretly a colorist? Sometimes it's not obvious. It shows up in small ways. So here are some red flags to watch out for. Number one, he makes backhanded compliments about dark skin. He might joke about women with darker skin tones or negative remarks. For example, "You're pretty for a dark-skinned girl," or "I usually don't date women this dark." Number two, he constantly uplifts other races while criticizing his own. If he's always praising women of other races while tearing down women of his own, a major red flag. Number three, he obsessively prefers Eurocentric features. There's nothing wrong with personal preferences, but if his type always centers around features that don't reflect his own people, it's worth questioning. Number four, he has a track record of exclusively dating outside his race. His dating history isn't just a pattern, it's a statement. If he openly disrespects or avoids women from his own background, that's colorism showing itself. Number five, he downplays or dismisses colorism. So if you bring up the topic and he brushes it off or says, "Oh, it's not that serious," it's likely because he benefits from it or he supports it. Babes, colorism is definitely real, and any man who denies it or contributes to it is not someone who deserves your time or energy.
If that man does not find dark-skinned women attractive,
dating is always asking, "What's your type? What's your celebrity, like who's your celebrity crush?" Because if you proceed to not show me anybody that looks like me, who is also darker than me, if you proceed to only show me racially ambiguous black women, or racially ambiguous women, period, or only light-skinned women, or racially ambiguous light-skinned women, babe, I'm not the demographic of people you like. And I don't want to be your token, like, "Oh, she wanted the pretty black girl." No, it's a lot of us out here. We bad as fuck. Get with the program. I can't do it. I can't you can't be trusted. And not only can you not be trusted, but please, 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 because this is an instant you will get cut the fuck off. Don't ever find yourself being comfortable enough to think that because I do not fall in the category of being dark skinned, that you could ever be comfortable enough to talk shit about them around me. I'll light your ass up for real.
Yesterday, my son comes into the room and he's like, "Mom, can you tell me how to tell this girl nicely that I don't like her?" So I'm just like, "Okay, sure. You know, let me see your phone," because it was in a text message. "Let me see your phone. Let me see what kind of conversation y'all been having and go from there." And before y'all start, I already told my son I would like to tell the story, and he said that's A-okay. Okay. The reason, to give you a little bit of backstory, why he probably asked was in the 5th grade, a girl told him that she liked him. And my son responded, "I don't like you," in a very harsh and matter-of-fact type of way. Now, my son is very honest and he's very upfront, which I love about him. But he has to learn how to say stuff with some couth. So that's why he came and asked, because, you know, he wanted to make sure he wasn't hurting the girl's feelings. Anyway, so I'm reading the text message, and the first text message that was sent was from the girl. And she says, "I like you, but I heard you're only into light skins." And I was like, whoop, hold on, wait a minute. So I'm like, before I even give you no solution on how to nicely tell this girl that you are not interested, I need some backstory on why she feels like you only like light-skinned girls. He responds that him and his friends were having a conversation, and that's actually how the girl got his number from one of his friends. That's a whole nother story that we have to talk about another time, right? So him and his friends were having a conversation about what type of girls they like, light skin or dark skin. And my son said that he chose light skin. So I said, "Okay, well, what was your reason for choosing light skin? Why do you prefer light skin girls?" Now, for reference, my son is 13. He's in the 8th grade. Anyway, he says he was just giving him an answer. He don't really care either way, but he just said light skin off the top. Okay. Now, of course, I know as a mental health professional that the psychology of the child's mind is what you see typically is what you're attracted to. If it goes back to the Oedipus and the electrocomplex, right? So as his mother, to me, I consider myself to be brown skinned. But if I had to lump myself in my dark skin or my light skin, I would be in the light skin boat. Okay, that's probably where most people will put me. My mother, who was a big influence in my son's life, she is light skinned. There's no brown skin about her. His father's mother is light skinned. So I get the relation to why he would probably in his brain, without even thinking, think light skinned women are more attractive or more appealing or whatever the case is. Now, if you're an OG here, you already know what it is. For me, it's black men only, right? And I instill that type of solidarity within black men with sense, right? I instill that type of solidarity into my son as well, like black women only. Now, of course, when he get big and he go and do his own thing, he can choose who he want to choose. I can't control that, but I know what I'm gonna teach, period, right? So I was like, I'm not holding the conversation you had with your friends against you. You said what you said. That's y'all bro talk, do you, whatever. But when it comes time for you to date, because he's 13, he ain't dating right now. That's not even a thing, okay? But when it does come time, choose women based on who they are, what they can offer you in the relationship, and not the hue or their shade of blackness. Please teach your children, your male children especially, about the effects of colorism. Because, baby, we do not need any more of these derelicts like we've been seeing on the internet.
So when I was a teenager, I was having dinner with my aunt and her son, and she bluntly just asked him, mind you, he is half black and half Indian, okay? And she bluntly asked him, hey, why do you only date light-skinned girls? I've never seen you date any girls that is my complexion. And my aunt's complexion is mostly a dark-skinned woman, right? And he gave her the answer. He said, well, because I only like red bones. I like white girls and I like red bones. And she said, well, you don't like girls that look like me? He said, no. And then she said, oh. And he said, well, I mean, you're beautiful because you're my mom. And I'm just sitting up here observing everything. And at the time, I didn't know that this was a former colorist. And I'm like, what? How does he not like brown-skinned, dark-skinned women? He's a brown-skinned man himself. But that was my first time ever seeing colorism in my own family. And he continued to see the light-skinned women, and he ended up marrying a white woman. And honestly, he's a lot to deal with. And I felt bad for my aunt because I saw the hurt in her eyes as she listened to her own son say that he only finds her beautiful because she's his mother. So if she did not hold that title, she would not be deemed beautiful in his eyes. And that's so sad. So let's break down the truth about men who are colorists, especially towards their own kind. Number one, it is rooted self-hate. A man who disrespects a woman who looks just like him is often revealing a lack of love for himself. It's internalized self-hatred projected onto others. Number two, it's about validation. Society has long glorified Eurocentric beauty standards, and some men chase the validation from those standards to feel more accepted or better than others. Number three, it's status seeking. For some men, dating outside their race or preferring lighter skin feels like a status symbol. They think it says something about their success, but really it's just a reflection of their own insecurities. Babes, a man who tears down his own kind isn't ready for love. He's still battling himself, and that's a war you don't need to fight. And I know now I am a football mom, so I see it with the NFL draft this year, and I'm just like, what? It is things that just have you just question, just like, what's going on,
Because a lot of black women, and I'm speaking African American, feel forced to date Hispanic men or even white men because black men treat them so poorly.
I was literally about to say.
Let's talk about the stereotypes, right?
Okay,
As a Latina,
okay.
I get aggressive with you. I start cursing you out in Spanish. I'm yelling. I'm making a show. Oh, that's sexy. But let a black woman do it. Crazy because I could look the same as her. She could have my complexion, all of that. But just because I speak Spanish, it's sexy.
Certain statements are colorist because you're assigning negative attributes to a person solely based off their skin color. You're only preferring light-skinned girls because you think they act a certain type of way. You don't prefer dark-skinned girls because you think they act a certain type of way. That's colorist. Like all black people don't act the same, skin color has nothing to do with personality traits. Dark-skinned girls are this, dark-skinned girls are that. All negative attributes that aren't true. Not every dark-skinned girl acts the same type of way. So for you to have a preference on a skin color, that's you assuming that that whole skin color acts a certain type of way, which is just not true.
Tell me somebody's colorist without saying they're colorist.
So 3 years ago, I was seeing this guy. We were talking, getting to know each other, blase. Chemistry was great. He was applying pressure nonstop. Never let a day go by without calling me, texting me, whatever the case may be. But I had a hunch that he was colorist because his preference was light-skinned women with curly hair. I'm like, this man doesn't follow any dark-skinned women on Instagram. But me being the secure, confident woman that I am, I let that shit fly over my head. So I leave for vacation, right? And mans is like, please, don't get any darker. Stay out the sun. I don't want your skin getting any darker. I'm like, huh? Fuck are you talking about? Instead of wishing me a safe flight and trip, the first thing out your mouth is don't get any darker? If anything, I want to get darker. And that was the last day he ever heard from me, child.
The difference between colorism and skin tone preference. Y'all make this shit look like it's rocket science, and it's really not. But I'm gonna break it down so a lot of y'all really can't get the shit through your head. There is nothing wrong with having a preference in terms of skin tone. If you like light-skinned woman, hey, that's what you gotta do, man. That's your type. If you like dark-skinned woman, that's your preference.
So where exactly does the issue lie?
I'm glad you asked. The issue actually lies when you start being arrogant about what it is that you prefer. Just because you like light-skinned woman does not mean you should look at any other dark-skinned woman and be like, you're ugly because you're not what I prefer. What I'm basically trying to say is the fact that there's nothing wrong with you having a preference, but do not be ignorant about it and try to take away from the beauty of anybody else just because they're not your type. In other words, it becomes colorism when you actually start throwing hate or take away from the beauty of women that are a certain skin tone.
Pretty badass black ass girls. There's some banging ones that are finer than the light ones that are just straight up finer than them. But sometimes you'll get a pretty dark skinned girl that's just finer than everybody. But the fact that we've been ingrained and brainwashed to think that lighter is better, they'll still think the light one is better. And the light one be mad average. You know what used to happen to me growing up, like in Chicago or in college? I remember light-skinned dudes would be like, yo, I'm better looking than you. I go, but how? Right? And I say, my teeth are straighter than yours. Yours are a little fucked up. You got green eyes, so fucking what? You know what I mean? And I say, you know what I mean? Then they'd be a little, and my skin is better than yours. And up to this date, they've all aged like shit. And they would say, no, I'm better looking than you are. You black motherfucker. I'd be like, okay, I'm African. What do you want? You know what I mean? And I always say this to light-skinned people. Without us, y'all asses wouldn't be here. So you better recognize and bow down to your originators, because you're motherfucking ass. A lot of light-skinned people be looking like they dark-skinned parent. They look just like they dark-skinned parent, because you wouldn't be here if it weren't for chocolate. You would not be here, light-skinned motherfuckers. You understand? And in the long run, you age like shit.
Well, you know what's interesting? What's interesting is that when you do have the dark-skinned girls that a lot of people find attractive, like the Naomi Campbells,
yes,
they usually have somewhat European features, usually somewhat narrow noses.
A lot of times they will do this. They will go, you know what? I want them to look like Barbie. I want them to still have white features. I don't want them to be too black. I want them to be some Eurocentric things about them. You know, petite nose, lips, you know what I mean? Because but it's so funny because Europeans, you know, clown those features for so long in ads, on television. They made, you know, big noses embarrassing. They made big lips embarrassing. But now white women look like fucking, they've been punched in the mouth, because now white women are getting their lips filled. They're getting their asses look like a bag of nickels and shit now. You know what I mean? It looks like a bag of fucking nickels. these girls walking around with these fake asses, all of these African features that they used to make fun of. Because I remember growing up, people would talk about your lips, make fun of your lips. Let me tell you something. I'm sorry, Blad, but thin lips are fucking disgusting. Thin lips feel like thin lips feels like someone's just fucking thin lips. You need cushion, man. There's nothing like a woman with full lips. Nothing like men with full lips, God damn it. For all the features that women, these white women and these women from other races are fucking getting operationally.
Hey, aunties.
Hi.
My baby father has randomly turned colorist while I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
God, one of those.
I'm a dark-skinned woman who's been seeing this man for 4 years before I fell pregnant. Ever since I got pregnant, he's been passing comments in the form of jokes saying that the child better be light-skinned, like his mother, as it's a girl. He is also a dark-skinned man. Today, he finally broke me when he joked that he would buy me bleaching cream so I can bleach by the time the baby is born, so I can look like his mum. This is crazy. Oh my God. I said he should bleach first.
Yeah.
I didn't cry in his face. I always moved with confidence because I love my dark skin, but I'm very hormonal. I give birth next month, and it all makes sense on why I haven't met his perfect mum after all this time. I think I have to leave him, but he's been a hands-on partner besides his colorist jokes. So do I want him to have a relationship with his daughter?
Oh, wow. Jeez. You know, the thing that's crazy about this is it's actually quite common. It's a common thing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And like, especially within the West, dark-skinned couples, and there's so many forums, there's just so many people talking about it, that it's like once the baby comes along, kind of similar to the royals, you start to have the conversation of what is their complexion going to be, and this is what I would prefer. And you may not know that you have a partner that would think like that until it's kind of happening.
That's wild, though, to be in a relationship, yeah? I mean, it's wild on every single count. But to be in a relationship, you're dark skinned, yeah, for a start. And then your missus is dark skinned too. And then you have an issue with your child being a representation of you both.
Wow.
That is fucking crazy to me. It's crazy.
I think men don't get to deal with their colorist issues in the way that women do. So that kind of thing where he's so scared, because I've heard that as well, like dark-skinned men, that's, you know, their biggest excuse. Well, I was teased when I was young and so I'm only going to go out with white or light-skinned women or whatever. And it's that because you don't get to deal with your colorism in an emotionally intelligent way that girls do. We go through it in a different way. And I think we get to express our issues in a different way. Men don't. And like where we use beauty products, it's easier, not saying it's right, but it's easier to go and pick up some bleaching cream. But as a man using bleaching cream, even all those things, do boys and men have that conversation?
Now, let's talk about how colorism doesn't come out of nowhere. The media, the hip-hop culture, and even slavery play a huge role in how colorism became internalized. Of course, the legacy of slavery during slavery, light-skinned individuals were often favored because they were the result of mixed-race units with slave owners. They were sometimes given privileges then that dark-skinned individuals didn't have, creating a divide within a community. Also, the media's Eurocentric beauty standards, from Hollywood to beauty magazines, lighter skin and straighter hair, has been presented as the idea for decades. This constant imagery seeps into our subconscious and influences our perceptions of beauty and worth. Of course, I'm going to talk about hip-hop and music. Let's be real. Many hip-hop videos glorify lighter-skinned women, often sidelining or objectifying darker-skinned women. Lyrics often reinforce those preferences, making it seem like lighter skin equals to value. And of course, the TV and just entertainment altogether. Even in modern TV shows, you'll often see lighter skinned actresses in leading roles while darker skinned women are portrayed in less flattering or stereotypical ways. This sends a message about whose beauty and worth are prioritized. Babes, this isn't just about men, it's about a system that's been feeding these ideas for generations, but recognizing it is the first step to rejecting it and also choosing better.
So I was just listening to music and I'm vibing, and a Lil Wayne song came on, and beautiful black woman, but I'm sure that bitch looked better red. It just really irritated me. Like, I've known that lyric was in his song, but like I'm not thinking about it as I'm singing the song. And like as it comes on, it's just like the amount of fucking colorism that darker skinned black women have had to deal with from other dark skinned men growing up, either directly or indirectly, is so fucking crazy. And to think that during that time, like when I was growing up, like it was very much okay to be a colorist. Like it was just understood that that's just what we are and that's just what we do. And it's just like, okay, like you're pretty for a dark skinned girl was a thing, was a phrase that people said to other dark skinned women. And I'm just like, we were consuming this type of information, like not thinking anything of it. Like we just thought like, okay, like people like light-skinned girls, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and that's why when light-skinned women come on this app, talk about colorism goes both ways, baby, it don't. It does not. It does not. Point me in the direction of at least 3 songs that talks about how a light-skinned woman would look better if she was dark-skinned. I really want to hear a song where they're not downplaying y'all, where they're downplaying y'all and uplifting dark skin. Like, this is shit that we have been fed, like spoon-fed our whole lives. Stay out the sun. You don't want to get darker. Like, just oh my God. I don't know why it bothered me so much in this very moment, but it really did. It really did. That's crazy.
I just said I don't like women with my complexion. I like light-skinned women. I want you to be lighter than me. I love African-American women, but I just don't like my skin complexion.
Okay. Well, I like your skin complexion.
We too gutter. Black people, my complexion, we too gutter. Light-skinned women, they more sensitive, you know?
There's some dark-skinned women out here sensitive.
No, they too tough. They too tough. Light-skinned women, we could break them down more easy, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. That's it.
So, of course, my loves, you do not have to stay where you are not celebrated. And here's how to just move forward and go where you are loved and appreciated. Of course, it's setting boundaries. Don't tolerate any disrespect. If a man shows signs of colorism, walk away immediately. Number 2 is embrace your beauty. Love and celebrate yourself. Whether you're a dark skin, light skin, or somewhere in between, your beauty is still valid and worthy of admiration. Number 3 is surround yourself with positivity. Build a circle of people who uplift and appreciate you for who you are. And of course, date intentionally. Look for partners who love and value you unconditionally. Don't settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole cake. Babes, the right person will see your beauty and value without hesitation. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. It's already there. I just want to say, have y'all seen these Asian men lately? Jesus, they are fine, okay? Fine. I never thought about dating outside my race until like a few years ago. And I was like, I need to do something different. And I'm loving a lot of Black women are choosing to go where they are loved and appreciated. Okay, I really just love that. And also, I just want to point out that during my last pregnancy, my ex-husband started saying weird things, and that made me realize that I married a colorist. And I'm like, what? And it didn't come out until like the very end. He must have had a Latina girlfriend that he was cheating on me with, because he kept on saying stuff like, oh, you know, like the Latino women, you know, they do this, like, you know, but black women, they do that. And I'm like, what? Like, nobody's even, why are you even saying that out of the blue? You know, it was just things that he was just saying. And I was like, wow, okay. And then all of a sudden, you know, that's why I can't stand black women. And I'm like, whoa. And here I am carrying your black baby. And you're talking about how you can't stand black women. Shit, I wish he was honest about how he really felt and his real preference and the woman that he really wanted, because had I known, I wouldn't have married you and had your kids. And you're going to say this at this moment? Like, yeah, that was crazy for me. And listen, go right ahead, my love. Enjoy yourself. Once I realized I wasn't the problem, but he was the problem, and what he internalized for himself, I'm like, look, that's all you, babe. So, my rich babes, here's your takeaway. Colorism is real, but you don't have to accept it in your life or your relationships. Recognize the signs, reject the disrespect, and go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. These white men, these Asian men, I'm telling you, they have stepped up their game, okay? Don't be afraid to go out there. You know, there's nothing wrong with our brothers, all right? It's nothing wrong with black men, because there are some who really do love black women and will love to treat us right. However, if you find someone that is outside the race and they treating you like the love and the respect that you deserve, girl, go right ahead, okay? So don't forget to drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced colorism in dating? How did you handle it? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more glow up wisdom during our Decentering Men December. And also make sure that you subscribe to my second channel, Rych Babes Reacts. Until next time, stay growing, stay glowing, and stay rich, Rych Babes. Love you.